Okay, yeah, now it says live. Okay, all right. Once you decide to go into private practice, you have to decide how to structure the business part of doing psychotherapy. And there's one of several ways that you can structure your business. And the first is called a sole proprietor. As a sole proprietor, all you do is basically, once you're licensed, is that you hang up your shingle and you start doing business. Here's the characteristics of a sole proprietorship. You are your business in a sole proprietorship. There's no separate entity as there is with a corporation. You are your business. And therefore, all income that comes into you through your business is personal income. So you have to have an accounting of that. You're responsible, as a matter of fact, to withhold for yourself the taxes that you will have to pay. Those are both personal taxes, and they're also self-employment taxes or Social Security taxes, because you're responsible for the entire amount. So you have to be able to set that aside as you go along. You report all of that income on what's called a Form 1099. It's for a sole proprietor or a independent contractor. You report all of your income, and then you track, and you must be able to substantiate all of your business expenses. Those are legitimate expenses to running your business. Okay, wait a second. I think, yeah, so I covered that slide. And that was slide 11.
You know, we might have a slightly different numbering system because the slide before what you just called 11 said, I have it as 11 here. It says the business of therapy, and it looks like it actually might introduce the next three.
Oh yeah, that's slide 10
Yeah,
on mine.
yeah. So we're slightly different. I think that logically comes. You want to say those words before you jump right into sole
Okay,
proprietorship and stuff too. So
okay,
I don't care what order you deliver them in, but I think we'll need that setup.
okay. Let
I
me
mean,
do that next.
okay, however you want to do it.
Sure. All right, so that introductory slide I'll take next. All right. When thinking about going into a private practice, you're really thinking about going into business for yourself. And so there are a few challenges when you consider opening a small business. And the first is that that business is open to a general market economy. And so that if the economy is doing well, the business does better. But as we had the downturn in 2008, many private practitioners had trouble because their clients began to drop off. And so you're subject to the general market economy. Also, you're subject to the volatility of a small business. Small businesses can't typically or don't have the resources to typically ride out changes in the environment. And so you have to be able to be prepared for that. There are certain government regulations in our business, and so that could bring limitations to what you can do or can't do as a private practitioner. And then certainly if you're going to accept insurance, the third-party characters, the third-party definitely have regulations and limitations, and that also adds to the volume of paperwork that you're going to have to be able to do or to be able to hire someone else to do. Finally, you're also getting out into the field where there's competition. The field of counseling is expanding rapidly, not only from other psychologists, but from marriage and family therapists, from also from what is LPC? Licensed Professional Counselor. Also from licensed professional counselors or licensed social workers, not to mention a growing field of people that are calling themselves types of coaches. And so these I didn't like that at all. I'll go through it again. In starting a private practice, you're really starting a small business, and so you're going to run into certain challenges along the way. And one is that you're subject to the open market economy in the United States. If there's volatility in the general economy, it will be reflected in your own business. Back in 2008, a lot of colleagues in private practice began to see a drop-off of their caseloads because the economy hit in all areas. And now it's begun to climb back, but that can be a hardship to an individual business. As a small business, you are subject to volatility in that way, and it's a good idea to be able to put resources aside to weather out these changes of economy. Also, there's certain government regulations and limitations that kind of determine what we can do in our field, sometimes very limiting. Also, third-party providers. If you plan to take insurance, the insurance companies each have a different set of limitations and regulations that you have to follow that can serve kind of as a governor on your business unless you know your way through it. Finally, there's going to be competition from other therapists. Our field of psychology and counseling is expanding, and not only are there other psychologists out there, but there are marriage and family therapists, there are licensed social workers, licensed professional counselors, and a whole host of people that are calling themselves coaches that do similar work. So bringing yourself out from the pack is going to be important as you start your new small business. All right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay, I'll work on this slide now.
The licensed professional counselor, brand new license in California, has been the best boon to my CE business in all the years I've done it, because they require academic courses, not CE courses. But I was able, because I'm really close with CSP people here, I was able to take vetted CSPP courses, run them online, charge much less than academic prices, but much more than CE prices. And of course, I picked the ones that people weren't going to have, like career and psychopharm and stuff like that. And it's just been a land office business. It's been,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, that's great.
we have been quite profitable for the last 4 years here.
I know even 3-4 years ago, I was urging, whenever it came up on the board, I was urging that we jump into that market, which they were perfectly willing to do, and you know, but yeah, because I saw that coming a while back. You know, most of the counselors throughout the United States, I hear, are LPC. It's a much more unified licensure than marriage and family and some of the others.
Yeah, no, I spent most of my adult life in Massachusetts, and I have a number of friends who are masters trained LPCs that have made a very nice career doing psychotherapy. So,
And so, as new types of counselors come in the bottom, we keep trying to go up to do other things, such as prescribe medications now. I don't know if you heard, Beth from the board uh, is the president of the Psychological Association in Chicago, and she's fought for some years, and they just passed a bill to let psychologists prescribe.
yeah, I know Illinois was considered to be maybe even a tipping point because I mean, so far it's just been places like New Mexico and Louisiana, and people can say they're exceptions, but no, that
Right.
could be really something.
Okay.
Let me mute myself here.
Another way you can structure yourself for the business side of psychotherapy is to form a corporation. And there are several types of corporations, and you, of course, would need to check with your CPA to see which type of business, no matter what you decide, is best for you. But in general, a corporation is called a C Corp. It's just a common corporation. It's a for-profit corporation, easily filed. And once you become a corporation, you handle the income differently. You may also want to be a professional corporation. That's a different designation. And then there's also limited liability partnerships, LLPs, and limited liability corporations, LLC. You may have heard these terms. And again, your CPA can help you determine the best structure for you if you don't want to be a sole proprietor. Now, in any of these corporations, you are actually an employee of the corporation, even though you hold the corporation. That gives you some advantages. First of all, the income from fees, from revenue, goes to the corporate name. It does not come directly to you. And in fact, you are an employee of your own corporation. And what this does then is simplifies the tax reporting process because the corporation pays you a salary. Another good thing about this is that it tends to level out the volatility of different months of income, because if you take a standard salary every month, then the volatility of month-to-month variations in revenue are taken care of. And the corporation can hold excess money for those times when it's slower or you have extra or unexpected expenses. So you report like any other employee on a W-2 form every year. Taxes are withheld, and the corporation pays half of your Social Security costs, which is a benefit. Now, a drawback is you have to file 2 tax returns. One is your standard personal tax return, but the second is a corporate tax return. Now, got ahead of myself. So let me just end it with that. Okay. So a drawback of having a standard corporation is that you have 2 tax returns. Your personal tax return, but the corporation also files a tax return. Okay, that's that slide.
Now, the next one that I see, I'm not sure if we need to really talk about. It's the nonprofit corporation, right? Is that your next slide?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's relevant in this regard. What's your thinking about that? I mean, do people...
Well, my clinic was a nonprofit.
Oh, I see. Okay. Then if you'll set that into context, then good. I wouldn't have thought it, so good.
Yeah.
Be sure to mention why that might be relevant.
Yeah. Okay, we'll give this one a shot. Second. A third type of business structure you might want to think about is a nonprofit corporation. And there's certain reasons you might want to do this. First of all, a nonprofit corporation is considered a charitable or a public benefit corporation. As with a regular corporation, you are an employee of your nonprofit corporation. All of the revenue from doing counseling or any other business activities comes into the nonprofit corporation, and you are paid a salary, just like in a regular corporation. You also file a W-2 at the end of the year for your taxes. The corporation has to file a tax report. It's called a 990 form. It's not a tax return because a nonprofit corporation does not pay income tax. But you have to give a report each year. Now, why would you want to be a nonprofit? Well, it depends on the type of services that you want to provide. A nonprofit corporation allows your corporation to receive donations and grants. And there are many governmental and corporate grants that will not grant to a for-profit corporation, but a nonprofit corporation is encouraged to apply. You can even build a donor base of individuals that support the type of work you're doing. So this would be more than just a private practice. This would be if you are reaching into underserved communities and building various programs of mental health for people that can't afford it, as an example. A nonprofit corporation might be a good way for you to go. Also, if you're planning throughout your career to supervise interns, that is pre-licensed people coming along towards licensure, a non-corporation enables you to have more interns than a for-profit corporation or a sole proprietorship.
Would you say that last sentence again? I think I heard a little audio glitch. It wasn't you, it was in the internet. Just say that thing, a nonprofit corporation allows you to have interns and a profit doesn't. If that's
okay. Okay. Also, a nonprofit corporation allows you to have more interns. So if you're planning to build into the lives of therapists that are moving towards licensure, the nonprofit corporation allows you to have more interns in either group or individual supervision than either a corporation or a sole proprietorship. So that's 13.
Yeah, that was really informative. So really, I would be happy in this session if we looked at 3 more, and maybe, I don't even know if you'll want to do all 3 of them. Maybe 2 will do it. But what I call 17, you might call 18, or I'm not quite sure. It's your axiom. You see axiom number 2?
Yeah.
Do you feel you've covered that enough?
Well, I use it as a statement to sort of restate the point of that group of slides. So,
well, yeah, I'd love a brief restatement of it. So if you had something to say about 17 and 18, and that 19, I think, is the way to handle 19. You might handle it like you're speaking to your listeners. And asking them to start to consider those questions. And what you'll say is something like, later in this course, we're going to be exploring those important revenue relationships of how much money you want to make and how many therapy sessions you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that one would be pretty brief.
Yeah.
And also 17 would be brief, just a kind of a restatement. And then, but I think 18, well, again, it's just
the green one, right?
Well, no. The green one is what I call how much do you want to earn. I see that as that's not. I call that 19. So I'll stop using numbers. The green one is the one I'm suggesting that you briefly say something like, so why don't you now think about yourself and think about how much you want to earn and how many sessions you want to do per week. And later on in this course, we're going to be exploring exactly those factors further. So again, I would think that would just be a brief little exhortation to them. The one, how much income do I want to create? I think it's really important. And then the axiom, You can't say
So
that too many times.
did I say axiom 1 before?
Yes, you did.
So I'll say axiom 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that one.
Okay, I'm just going to mute my mic, but whenever you're ready, just take your time.
Axiom number 2 for building a private practice is, I don't like that. So, okay.
Maybe something like, here's another one of my axioms, or whatever you want to say. Yeah.
That would be better. Here's another one of my axioms for building a private practice. It takes a cognitive shift from employee to owner, and also from a laborer to an entrepreneur. So did it look like I was looking down?
No, it looked okay. You were closer. You sort of came forward, but
Yeah,
I didn't.
I sat up a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't experience it as looking down.
Okay.
It's so short, you can take it again if you'd like, though.
Okay. Another one of my axioms is that when building a private practice, you have to really have a cognitive shift from employee to owner and from laborer to entrepreneur. Okay, so any value in, in class, I talk about this next slide as the miracle question, the private practice miracle question, out of, is it systems theory or solution focused theory? I don't know if that's worthwhile to call this a miracle question or not. Out of context, maybe.
It might sound a tiny bit hyperbolic, but the fact of the matter is that my current plan is to call this whole course revenue planning. So there's no question more germane, to what this course is about. So I guess I think you should make a big deal out of it.
Okay.
I mean, you could channel Mick Jagger and say you could plan for what you need or plan for what you want, but anyway.
Okay. So how to introduce this as a miracle question?
Well, maybe to put it in the context of the course, this is a course in revenue planning. And we often don't really think of ourselves as being in a position to plan revenue, but by having your own private practice, you do. So how should we begin asking the question? Why not begin with, what do you want to make?
Yeah.
Think about it. Just, get it straight in your mind.
We're calling this a course?
I would call it a course. You could. I'm pretty interchangeable between workshop and course. Course suggests something really traditional, so I sometimes like to say that. Workshop suggests they're going to be doing something, which is characteristics of this. So I guess for now, I would have you say course. Yeah, this is a course in revenue planning for practices.
So, because I frame it as a miracle question when I work with people on this, so would it be okay to say when I work with people, I have a miracle question I ask?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good for people to know that what they're hearing is what you do in person with people professionally.
Okay. Okay. All right. This is a workshop on revenue planning. And so at the beginning, there is a very important question that you need to ask yourself. When I work with people on revenue planning for their private practice, I often ask them a miracle question. And that is, how much income do you want to create? And what must you do to create it?
I think you could say a teeny bit more about that, which is here. My reaction to that is that those questions are deceptively simple, but in fact, we rarely ask those questions of ourselves, and it's not obvious how to proceed once we do ask them. And so I would follow up on what you said. I would say, that sounds like a simple question, but it's not something that we do all the time. And so really the purpose of the rest of this workshop or course is to help you figure out how to accomplish those goals that you want to accomplish. I mean, that kind of a thing. That would be the little wrap-up of it.
Okay. Okay, I'll give it another go. This workshop is about revenue planning. And when I work with people trying to plan revenue for their private practice, I have what I call a private practice miracle question. It is this: how much income do you want to create? And what must you do to create it? They seem like deceptively easy questions, but they're really a struggle and the core of planning revenue. And in my experience, the people that wrestle with this concept, answering this question sufficiently, makes the difference between success and failure. Okay, better?
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then, so for this last one, why don't you really just talk to the audience now and say, so why don't you start, thinking about your own goals, and you can write them down if you want, or just kind of imagine that you're talking to them there. And
now, are you talking about the green slide? How much do you want to earn?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I would say, so I'm inviting you now to begin considering those questions, and we'll be doing a lot through the rest of this course to address the ways to get there, kind of thing.
Okay. Okay, and then the next time we'll go into the actual planning of it that follows this. Yeah, I got it. The thing is, well, I know we'll go right on from this point, right? So. Well, I'll just do it, see what happens. Okay, now I'd like you to just take a moment and do a kind of an exercise. Give some thought to the question I just asked you. How much income do you want to make per year? Now, the second part of that question, what do you have to do to create it? And in the business of private practice, that translates to how many sessions do you want to have per week? How busy do you want to be? Do you want 20 sessions per week, 25? I have colleagues that see 30 and 35 clients per week. These are options for you to just sort of consider, because the rest of this workshop is going to be taking that apart and showing you how to come up with those numbers. What do you think?
It wasn't perfect. I don't think it ended quite right, but it's such an easy. It'll be the placeholder for now, and I think we'll get smarter about how to end it as we go along. So I think we're all set. I've got plenty of good material to work with in the let's get this course going department now.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's going to be next really for you, and I don't know, I mean, should you end the intro sections asking them to think about it, or should you begin the more action-oriented sessions with it? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see that a little bit more. But like I say, we got lots of good material here, and we might not do this again until in September. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'm going to be away on Orcas Island, believe it or not, for the entire month of August, and maybe I'll run a hangout from there. We'll see how it goes.
Well, it's okay with me. I mean, I'm available, so
okay.
Make it fit for you.
Yeah, we will do that. But like I say, for me, you know, I'm really glad that you suggested this. It was just great to have someone I'm working with say, hey, Tom, we didn't make a date. How about this day? And, man, any subject matter expert I'm working with suggests a date, I'm always going to say yes, because we'll always get material in the can, and that's all I know. So so thanks a million.
So we won't schedule anything right now.
Not at the moment. Let's just see how this comes out. I would say that there's some chance that between now and the end of June, maybe we'll try one more hour to fix up some things, or do one more, you know, one or two more little things. But I would say one more at most in June.
Okay. And then you had talked about the other topic about the changing landscape of psychotherapy with the Affordable Care Act and so on.
And, well, would you need to prepare, or can you at any time say things about certain of these features of the economy, of the healthcare economy, like you know, what's it going to mean to go from a pay for service instead of pay for value? What does mental health parity mean? Now, I don't know if you followed any of those themes or not. If you don't,
I have. I don't have it. I don't have a set of slides because I haven't taught it as a class, but I could certainly put that together in my own mind.
Okay. Well, here's what I'll do then. Jana actually introduced me to a real expert in mental health law, and he might cover some of that stuff, and he's got a really nice informal style. We'll see how that goes. But I'd really like you represented in there too. I was trying to stay with things that I knew you had already prepared to present. But so I'm going to do two things when we stop talking. One will be that actually I'm going to stop the broadcast right now.